Picture this. The only growing space you have is your front steps, not a yard, not a balcony, not one bed of soil, just the steps up to your own front door. Now picture the bag of salad you grab at the store every single week, the one that turns to slime at the back of the fridge in about 3 days, so you end up throwing half of it away. Imagine cutting that salad fresh instead, from a pot on the step, about a minute before it lands on your plate. That is not a fantasy, and it is not even slow. Leafy greens go from a pinch of seed to your first cut in only a few weeks, and they will do it on a shady step, in almost no room at all. So this is the garden I would build if my front steps were all I had, and I am keeping the promise narrow and honest on purpose. A staircase of pots will not fill a pantry or carry you through winter. But the salad aisle, the leaves, the crunch, the little tomatoes, the herbs you pay a fortune for and throw half away, that shelf you can walk past for good. And here is the part nobody notices about a set of steps. It is already a garden. Every step is a shelf, a natural tier, sunniest at the top, shadier at the bottom, just waiting for a pot. Let me build it, step by step, starting with the one you would cut from almost every day. Station 1 is the salad bowl itself, the leafy base, and it goes on the shadiest lower steps, because this is the one crop that actually prefers a little shade over blazing sun. Fill a couple of wide, shallow pots with loose leaf greens, leaf lettuce, spinach, rocket, a little kale, whatever your family actually piles on a plate. Greens are made for a step, because they are shallow-rooted and perfectly happy in a shallow pot. They do not want depth, they want light and a little water, and a lower step gives them exactly the soft, cooler light they like. Now here is the one trick that turns a single pot into a whole season of salad, and it is the thing most people get wrong. You do not grow a lettuce, wait for a full head and cut it down. You sow them close together, and you harvest, cut, and come again, taking only the outer leaves and leaving the little growing point in the center untouched. Do that, and one sowing does not hand you a single salad. It hands you salad for weeks, because the plant keeps pushing fresh leaves from the middle as fast as you pick the edges. A couple of dollars of seed in a shallow pot can quietly stand in for a bagged salad you would otherwise rebuy every trip, and it is fresher, because it travels about a minute from step to plate instead of a week from a field. That is the whole build sitting in one pot. Station 2 is the crunch that goes in the bowl, and it is the fastest reward in the entire garden. Station 2 is the crunch, radishes, and they earn a step of their own because they are the fastest thing you will ever grow. From pushing a seed into the soil to pulling a crisp, peppery radish is often only around 3 to 4 weeks, which is quicker than that bag of salad in your fridge goes off. Put them in a slightly deeper pot on a sunny middle step, and here is the trick that keeps the crunch coming. Do not sow the whole pot at once. Sprinkle a small pinch of seed every couple of weeks, a little and often, so the pot is always producing instead of giving you a glut of radishes in 1 week and then nothing. Because they turn over so fast, one small pot can be sown, pulled, and sown again many times across a single season, always filling a gap the day it opens. And here is the surprise most people never hear. You do not just eat the root. Radish leaves are edible and go straight into the same salad bowl, so a single fast pot hands you both the crunch and more greens at the same time, nothing wasted, and a harvest in under a month. Station 3 is the topper everybody assumes needs a real garden. Station 3, tomatoes, the topper, and this is where a set of steps quietly beats a flat garden. Skip the tall, sprawling kind that needs staking and space, and grow a tumbling or bush tomato instead, the compact type bred to spill over the edge of a pot or a hanging basket. Hang one from the rail at the top of the steps, or sit a big pot on the sunniest top step, and it cascades down covered in little sweet tomatoes right at picking height. Here is the first surprise. The hard surface works for you. All that stone and brick around a doorway soaks up the sun through the day and gives the warmth back slowly in the evening, so a pot on warm steps against a warm wall sits in a little pocket of stored heat that can ripen fruit earlier and hold it later than the same plant would manage out in open, exposed ground. And the second surprise is the one that keeps the bowl full. The more you pick, the more they set. A tomato plant is only trying to make seed, so every little fruit you take nudges it to flower and try again, which means one tumbling plant can keep handing you salad tomatoes for months, one pot or one hanging basket off the rail, feeding you the topper you buy most. That is the first three stations: the leaves, the crunch, and the topper. Before the next three, let me show you the one move that uses a space you did not even know you had. So look at what the steps hold already: a shady lower shelf of cut-and-come-again greens, a fast pot of radishes on a middle step, and a tomato tumbling off the top rail. Stop and notice something, because that is already most of a salad bowl: the base, the crunch, and the topper, growing on nothing but a staircase you walk up every day. The next three are what turn a nice bowl of leaves into never buying salad again: the crunch that climbs a space you are not using, the flavor you pay the most for by weight, and the one move that keeps the whole thing going when everyone else's pots have gone bare. Quick question while we are here, and I do read every reply: what is the one thing you put in a salad that you would most love to stop buying? Tell me in the comments. I am genuinely curious what tops your list. Now, Station 4, and it grows in thin air. Station 4 is the crunch that grows in thin air: cucumbers, trained straight up the handrail. Here is the space nobody uses on a set of steps: the rail and the wall beside them, all that vertical face going to waste. So run a few strings or lean a slim trellis up alongside the rail and send a compact cucumber vine climbing. Trained upward instead of sprawling across the ground, one plant takes a footprint no bigger than a dinner plate and turns the airspace above it into a hanging line of fresh cucumbers. And a cucumber does the same generous trick a bean does: keep picking the young ones and the plant keeps setting more, so one vine up a rail can hand you salad cucumbers for weeks from a pot you could step around. Here is the neat bonus that makes the rail even smarter: that climbing curtain of leaves throws a little strip of cool shade down onto the step just below it. And that shade is not a problem, it is a gift, because it is the perfect cool spot to slide a pot of summer lettuce so it does not wilt and bolt in the heat. You are stacking two salad crops into the air above one small pot. Station 5 is the flavor that turns a bowl of leaves into an actual meal. Station 5 is the flavor, the herbs and the green onions, and this is the corner of the produce section you overpay for the worst. Think about how herbs are sold: a few cut sprigs sealed in a stiff plastic clamshell, one of the highest prices by weight in the whole store, and they turn to slime in the fridge in a matter of days, so half of every pack goes straight in the bin. It is the worst value on the shelf, and it is the easiest thing of all to replace. Herbs are small and they love the warmth bouncing off the steps, so line up little pots of the ones you actually put on a salad: basil, parsley, cilantro, a pot of mint kept on its own step because it will bully everything next to it, and a clump of chives. Here is the spike, and it is almost too easy. One living herb pot you snip from all season costs about the same as a single clamshell you buy once and throw half away, except it never stops giving. Basil and parsley regrow the more you pinch them. Mint and chives come back year after year on their own, and green onions will regrow from the white root ends you would have thrown away, so push those scraps into a pot, and that little patch is effectively free forever. Fresh dressing for the bowl, right by the door, for the price of the herbs you used to bin. Station 6 is the one that earns the word never. Station 6 is the one that earns the word never in Never Buy Salad Again, and it is the station almost everyone skips. Here is the mistake most people make. They plant the steps once in spring, Pick through the warm months, and by autumn the pots are spent, everything winds down, and they drift straight back to buying bagged salad for more than half the year. The fix has two easy parts, and neither is hard. First, succession, which simply means the day a pot finishes, something goes straight back into it. When the spring radishes come out, greens go in, and when a lettuce bolts, that pot gets rezoned the same afternoon. Second, and this is the surprise that makes never realistic, you lean into the cold, because a lot of the best salad actually prefers it. Many loose-leaf greens, hardy winter lettuces, spinach and rocket keep growing through chilly weather, and a set of steps makes them easy to protect. Pull the pots up close against the warm wall by the door, and lay a cheap clear cover or a cloche over them on the coldest nights, and you can keep cutting fresh leaves deep into the cold months, exactly when a bag of salad in the store is at its most expensive and its least fresh. Most steps go bare in autumn not because they have to, but because nobody replanted them for the cold. Keep the pots turning over, and the steps keep you out of the salad aisle nearly all year. That is the whole build. Now here is how you run it so it actually replaces the shopping instead of just decorating the doorway. Here is the part that ties 6 pots into one working garden instead of 6 separate ones, and it is the reason a staircase can genuinely keep you out of the salad aisle. A set of steps has one real limit: space. You cannot grow everything, and you should not try. 3 simple rules make the little space you have work far harder than its size. First, use the tiers. A staircase is already a set of shelves, so read the light and match the crop to the step. The fruiting things like tomatoes on the hot sunny top, the leafy greens on the cool shady bottom, everyone in the spot they actually want. Second, go up. Always. The rail and the wall are the cheapest space you own, so put anything that will climb into the air and let the steps themselves hold the pots that cannot. And third, the big one, never leave a pot bare. The day you pick a pot out, refill it that same day, something fast in the shallow pots, something climbing on the strings, and never a circle of empty soil sitting there wasting a week of good light. Do those 3 things, and the steps are always growing something, which is the only way a space this small adds up to a real dent in the shopping. And grow what your family actually eats, so the payoff is not a pretty doorway, it is the quiet evening you build a salad for dinner and realize you have not bought a bag of leaves in weeks because it is all just outside the front door. That is the system, not a bigger yard, a fuller set of steps. So that is the garden I would build if my front steps were all I had: a shady shelf of cut-and-come-again greens, a fast pot of radishes, a tomato tumbling off the top rail, cucumbers climbing the handrail, a row of herbs and green onions for the dressing, and cool season leaves to carry it through the cold. Every pot refilled the day it empties, so it almost never stops. This channel is called 1 Acre Blueprint, and by now the real lesson is clear. The blueprint was never really about the acre. It is about how hard each square foot works, and a set of front steps worked properly can keep a family out of the salad aisle for most of the year. Do not try to build all of it at once. Pick one step to start this week. The greens feed you almost every day. The radishes give you a harvest in under a month if you want a fast win, and the herbs pay you back the very first time you skip that sad little clamshell. Subscribe to stay on the 1 Acre Blueprint, because next we take this exact idea and scale it up, the full plan for turning a doorstep like this into a whole small yard that feeds a family right through the year. And tell me in the comments, if your front steps were all you had, which of these 6 would you plant first?